Very good morning to everyone. So we are doing the current affairs of this week, and now this was there in the news that a panel was formed to investigate the ethnic violence in Manipur. Now, the Centre on Sunday has appointed three-member commission of inquiry to investigate the ethnic violence in Manipur, and this notification was issued by the Union Home Ministry saying that the commission shall submit its report to central government as soon as possible. Now, they are talking about ethnic violence, so we need to do this topic from the perspective of internal security. And we need to know what are the issues that are being faced in the areas of northeast. Now, from the prelims perspective, you should know which are the states that are comprising in the northeast section. So you have Arunachal Pradesh, you have Nagaland, you have Manipur, you have Mizoram, you have Assam, you have Meghalaya, you have Sikkim, and Tripura. Now you tell me from the perspective of GS paper 3, that is the internal security section, you need to know about the ethnic violence that is due to insurgency. There is violence over there. Have you read the newspaper? You got this? You remember? Okay. So insurgency, ethnic violence, these are the topics you should remember. And I have covered this with you in class. So what is insurgency? What is insurgency? Not working? Okay, so you should also know about the international boundaries. The region of the northeast are sharing with the other countries. And why do you think the problem of ethnic violence exists in these northeast section? Why do you think the problem of ethnic violence exists in this northeast section? Now, the reason of ethnic violence in this section is because there are mass intrusion from international borders. And who are there in international boundaries? Sorry. Then you have these Bangladesh, you have Myanmar, etc. So ethnic violence is occurring because there is large penetration of people from international boundaries. Okay, so you need to cover this topic with respect to GS paper 3, internal security mains. Then the question, now then, have you heard about this news? Collision of the trains. You people are sleeping or what? Haven't you heard about this news? This was there in news. Okay. So, with respect to railways, now you need to study about the infrastructure. Do we require infrastructure changes in railways or not? Do we require or not? Why? Which report or which committee has talked about reframing or revamping the railway infrastructure? It is Vivek Debroy committee. So that committee has talked about that we need to work on railways since this railway is a sector which is providing huge employment, and it is also one of the key factors of transportation. We need to check on the infrastructural management. Now, infrastructural management, what will be there? Collision क्यों हुआ? How many trains collided? How many trains collided? दो का नहीं था, तीन का था. What is the issue behind? Can we use artificial intelligence over here so that these accidents can be avoided in future? All this need to be studied. Why? Because since this accident took place and railways are there in use, so this is going to act as a key part in your mains paper. So first thing that you need to know is which committee has talked about looking after the railway infrastructure management. So it is Vivek Debroy committee. What need to be done? Any idea? How can you avoid these accidents in future? There was so many loss of lives and wastage of resources as well. No idea. See, they are saying that have you ever witnessed the red signal that we get while the train has to stop? The red flag that is being put. Ever seen? No? सोते रहते हो क्या ट्रेन में पूरे टाइम? So here it is being said that sometimes the driver doesn't take note of it. So what need to be done is that by the use of sensors and artificial intelligence, there will be automatic brakes that will stop the train while it is reaching onto the red signal. So all these things need to be worked on so as to make the railways efficient. So for efficient working of railways, what need to be done? Use of AI so as to avoid future collisions. What else? What else could be done to make railways efficient? What else? See, since railways are acting as one of the important parts of our economy, so we need to work on the PPP model, that is public-private partnership. so as to make outcomes better. Why do you think PPP will act as a better model? PPP model पता तो है, public private partnership. Why do you think this model is going to work? Since it is not possible to give entire railway in the hands of the private sector, then we need to consider public private partnership. Why do you think that this model is going to work efficiently? हाँ हाँ, better facilities, yes. Minimum price तो नहीं होगा. Affordable price तब होता है जब government sector is only involved. When private sector is coming, that means they are going to add on. Things are going to get expensive. Have you heard about just like air hostess, we were having these women's getting employed as in the railways for the services? नहीं देखा? तुम लोग कहाँ सोते रहते हो? इतना अपडेशन होता है उसके बाद भी नहीं देखते. अच्छा चलो कोई बात नहीं. So how is PPP model going to change the railway sector? Prices ज्यादा होंगी, ये हमेशा याद रखना. When private sector is coming, prices are not going to get low. Second thing, facilities will get improved definitely. Why? How many of you have witnessed the railway sector, railways of Agra and Kanpur area? बहुत खराब हालत है. So for in terms of efficiency and in terms of better services or facilities, for example, you people witness delays in train, so that is going to be checked. Then better routes will be available so that bullet train किसी ने सुनी थी? बुलेट ट्रेन नहीं सुनी? पता नहीं यार, तुम लोग कहाँ का न्यूज पढ़ रहे हो? So better route will be available and time saving journey will be possible. और क्या हो सकता है? और क्या हो सकता है? Are we having dedicated freight corridors जो सिर्फ इसलिए यूज किए जाएंगे और दे विल बी यूज ओनली फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ व्हाट, दैट यहाँ से सिर्फ फ्राइट वाला ही ट्रांसपोर्ट हो पाए. दैट इज योर गवर्नमेंट हैज वर्कड ओवर इट, दैट इज DFC, दैट इज योर डेडिकेटेड फ्राइट कॉरिडोर. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Any topic that is there in current section, that is there in news, you need to know what is government doing on over that area. For example, I told you that PPP model पे work कर रहे हैं वो, then they are having this dedicated freight corridor, then they are working on having AI so that collisions could be avoided. क्योंकि क्या होगा, sensors और AI की वजह से they will able to sense कि कोई ट्रेन आ रही है कि नहीं आ रही, so collision can be avoided. ये वाले कोलिजन्स क्यों होते हैं? क्यों होते हैं? Why do you think this is happening? यहाँ पे एक क्लास नहीं कोलाइड होती आप लोग की, यहाँ पूरी ट्रेन ही लड़ गई है. कोऑर्डिनेशन किसके साइड से प्रॉब्लम आया? कौन सी प्रॉब्लम आई? See, they have this chart कि अगर कोई एक ट्रेन आ रही है, so they have to stop the other one. ठीक है, क्या कर रहे थे ये कि 3 ट्रेन आ रही है और इन्हें पता भी नहीं चल रहा. A human error can be this devastating. What else? और क्या एरर है जो सही किया जा सकता है? Apart from all this, you have to give the recommendations of this committee that has talked about that how much infrastructural investment should be done onto this sector. This sector has been a profit-making sector. Okay. So this was about the railway sector. How the reification of caste will not lead to a true politics of change and justice. So this section is important for you from the Indian Society section, GS paper 1. Now they are saying or they are talking about caste. So where has this word caste came from? This word caste has came from the Portuguese word casta. Why is this topic important for you? Now they say that caste can be or they are relating caste with politics of change and justice. Now, do you witness casteism in politics? Why? For a simple reason that politics in India is based on vote bank politics, and this vote bank politics is possible only when the sensitive issues are being touched. Now, what are those sensitive issues? First is the issue of regionalism. Second is caste. Third is religion. And fourth could be gender voting system as well. How is caste going to play a role in politics and is going to change the graph of justice? If the question comes to you that is caste changing the role of politics in providing justice, how will you justify this? Caste playing a role in politics or changing the role of justice? How will you justify this? एक क्वेश्चन लिख लो फिर उसका आंसर मुझे बताना. What would be the role of caste? Role of caste in politics. What would be the role of caste in politics? What would be the role of caste in politics? Give both the positive and the negative impact. Are we seeing? Do you people remember that there was a lot of Jat protests that were happening for reservation? And why was this reservation system bought? Why do you think the reservation system was bought? सीधा सीधा मतलब why was reservation system brought? If reservation was provided to lower caste or the lower community, why was it brought? For the upliftment of that section. ठीक है. Now when reservation was brought for the upliftment of the section, then why is this Jat protest happening? That means they are asking for reservation. That means they want that we should be included where? In the OBC community. So ultimately the purpose of the reservation has been beaten. Why? Why was this reservation system brought? This system was brought कि ultimately after some time when there will be a society which will be based on equality, after that हम remove कर देंगे reservation. अब क्या हो रहा है? उल्टा चीज होने लग गया है. Now the upper caste, do you think these people are anyway ignored or anyway they are less? No, but they are asking for reservation. So what we are witnessing here is reverse Sanskritization. रिवर्स संस्कृताइजेशन का मतलब समझ आता है? रिवर्स संस्कृताइजेशन का मतलब समझ आ रहा है? Sanskritization is the process with which the lower community is somehow going to be uplifted so that they could sit or they could have a equality with the upper caste community. ठीक है, वो कैसे हो गया? Now providing them reservation would provide them with the opportunity कि वो अपनी upliftment कर पाए through economic perspective, right? Now क्या हो रहा है? Reverse sensitization, यानी अब upper caste is going down. Why? In order to allure or in order to have the benefits of reservation. So I asked you in this question that give both the positive and the negative impact of caste in politics. So you can say that because of reservation, what is happening now? The upper caste people want to have the benefits that are being provided to the lower caste through the process of reverse Sanskritization. ठीक है, पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट में क्या हो सकता है? Now positive impact में क्या होता है कि when there is a person who is representing a community, then people would be more comfortable with the person who is coming from that community. So political mobilization will help in better representation. You will be more comfortable with the person who is coming from your community or from your region or from the place or representing you who you are known to or with the person whom you don't know at all. राजनीति देखी है मूवी? अरे इन्होंने तो नहीं देखी होगी. You tell me, are you comfortable with the person who is coming from your community representing you or anyone else whom you don't even know? Coming from your community. So that is the reason this politics is also helpful in caste representation, because that will help you in mobilizing the people, and that mobilization will bring ultimately unity. That is why they are going to be comfortable with the person who is representing them coming from their community rather than the person whom they don't know. ठीक है, so caste will lead to a true politics of change and justice if political mobilization is being done not on the ground of vote bank politics. अब देखो, ये जो भी न्यूज आती है, why do you need to keep a track on this? Because you will get to know what is there going on in the current affairs. Now, since this was in the news, that means caste wala issue is still lying in the society. That means in Indian society section they can ask you about caste. ठीक है? Quick win reforms can spur economy this year, CII chief. So ये CII chief ने कहा है. Now this is Confederation of Indian Industry CII president, believes that there is scope for some quick win reform amid this election year to spur the economy, like expanding global trade ties, facilitating investment from pension funds and insurers, while bigger changes like GST rationalization and fixing archaic factors, market laws may have to wait till beyond 2024. This person is of the opinion that we can bring changes in the economy, and how can these changes be brought in the economy? Now he has said in order to bring the changes in the economy this year, we can expand global trade And how will this happen? We can expand global trade by facilitating investments from pension fund insurers. And he said that bigger changes can still require time. And what are those bigger changes he's talking about? The bigger changes he's talking about is the changes in bringing GST rationalization. What do you mean by GST rationalization? What do you mean by GST rationalization? He's saying all in all, इन्होंने इसमें पूरा क्या बोला है कि Indian economy is dealing with issues of inflation, etc. So what could be done if we want to expand the global trade? So we can invest the money we are having from the pension fund and insurer accounts to boosting the global trade. This is the first thing he has said. Second thing he has said that the bigger changes, that is GST rationalization and fixing the archaic factor market laws, may wait. So what do you mean by GST rationalization? We have different slabs for GST. पता तो है ना 5, 8, 18. So now he's saying that those can be weighted, but right now we need to work on expanding the global trade. And why we need to work on expanding the global trade? Because we are dealing with the issues of inflation. Are we dealing with the issue of inflation? नहीं, मेरी वजह से मत बोलो, अपनी वजह से बोलो. Have you witnessed it? कहाँ पे? Anything else other than this? अरे LPG इतना महंगा हो गया यार तुम्हारा, अभी और क्या चाहिए तुम्हें? Go to any restaurant, have food. कितना सारा GST पे कर रहे हो? Other than that, where else you are witnessing inflation? सरोजनी मार्केट में नहीं पता चलेगा. Other than inflation, we are also witnessing high unprecedented unemployment. What else? What else need to be checked according to him? Now, stressing that several industry segments, including the steel, cement, chemicals, as well as services like hotels, aviations, are seeing high capacity utilization rates. Now, this person has said that private sector will move from promise to delivery. That means he said that private sector has often been promising a lot of things, but when it comes to delivery, this goes unchecked. So this person has said that if we are going to work on the global trade section or if we are going to work on the investment section, the private sector will soon move from promise to delivery. You people don't read newspaper or what? मतलब इतने अच्छे आर्टिकल होते हैं, मतलब look at the language and the fluency. ये कहीं नहीं मिलती. हाँ? Yes. अच्छा, you people are doing Indian Express. अरे तो you should have told me. I would have taken Indian Express. मुझे लगा तुम लोग हिंदू कर रहे हो. I तो read Indian Express. मुझे तो वही ज्यादा अच्छा लग रहा होता है. नहीं मतलब हिंदू इज ऑल्सो गुड. कौन कौन इंडियन एक्सप्रेस पढ़ रहा है? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? आई डोंट हैव सेंसर्स इन माय हेड जिसको भी समझ आए. यू हिंदू? Okay, I'll take down the Indian Express section also. So he also highlighted the need for Indian businesses to be able to tap the necessary growth capital more easily from the domestic banks. Now he says that the steel and cement capacities are being robustly utilized due to their infrastructure investment. From a very positive sign is the machinery sector. That means 80% utilization of steel and cement sector is being done. Now, pointing out that banks are unable to provide equity funding for fresh investment. Now, why did he say that we need to have investment from here, pension fund and insurers? Because he says that banks are unable to provide pure equity funding for fresh investment or acquisitions. मतलब ये आपका now I can say that prelims में हो सकता है वो ये वाला point डाल दे कि why do we need to go for this pension fund and insurers, because equity funding is not being, or banks are unable to provide equity funding for fresh investments and acquisitions. Okay. Now, other than that, what he said is India's global trade engagement through free trade agreements and export promotion efforts indicates the need for India to review its stand on import tariffs to attract more investment and integrate with global value chain. Economy पढ़ ली ना? What is GVCs? Global value chain. That means you are doing what? You are exporting your products in the international market, so you are becoming one of the part of those global chains. ठीक है. अभी तुम लोग थोड़ा अजीब सा लग रहा होगा. Why? Because या तुम लोगों ने न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ के आओ, एटलीस्ट 1 वीक का पढ़ के आना. नेक्स्ट टाइम जस्ट रीड. कुछ और करके बताना, बस पढ़ के आना. यू शुड बी एक्चुअली comfortable with the language they are writing. So this is the reason why we are doing so, because CII chief has said that we require a investment. Why? Because there's a lot of inflation that is there in India. Other than that, there's a high unemployment rate. And why or how will this investment help? Because he says that India has the potential. And since we are talking about what? That soon India will be in $5 trillion economy. ये इतना आसानी से पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाएगा if investments are not there for global trade. ठीक है. अब तुम बताओ ये किस सेक्शन का है, किस पोर्शन का है ये? डीलिंग विद डीप फेक्स. थोड़ा तेज बोलो. इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी. यस. और हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट डीप फेक्स? तब फिर क्या सोच रहे हो? डीप फेक्स का मतलब क्या होता है? See, with respect to prelim section, this act as a part of your science and technology. And deepfakes का क्या मतलब होता है? हाँ? राहु केतु वाला चल रहा है क्या हिसाब? डीप फेक्स का मतलब क्या होता है? They are basically creating false content, and this false content could be related to anything. What? Doctored images. What do you mean by doctored images? For example, I'm teaching you people. ठीक है, अब anyone takes the snap और फिर स्नैप देख के क्या बोल दे यहाँ पे, मतलब दिस इमेज गेट डॉक्टर्ड एंड सडनली व्हाट वी सी दैट यहाँ पे रशियन सोल्जर्स बैठे हुए हैं एंड आई एम टेलिंग देम, देन व्हाट? So these kind of images have been circulating, and they are a great threat to internationally. Why? Because the security of the nation is hampered. ठीक है, अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल it could be anything. In case we are having, see, what can be there? In case if there is a thing that is our PM is addressing people, ठीक है, for example that image is being doctored, and it could be doctored in many ways. How? कुछ भी कर सकते हैं यार उसमें, मतलब यही बता दिया कि पाकिस्तान के लोग बैठे हुए हैं, so won't it going to fuel the people of India? So this will create a lot of political disturbance. Politically तो इशू समझ आ गया कि this can lead to what? Change the country's dimensions, that is security will be hampered. Economically कैसे करेगा deep fakes issue? How will deep fake create issues in the economic sector of the country? In some cases, we are using the tool of voice recognition. Now, if deepfake is able to create the voice similar to that, what is going to happen? आपका voice recognition software उसको differentiate नहीं कर पाएगा whether that voice is of the person or whether that voice is being created by using deepfake technology. और उससे क्या होगा? A lot of financially and economically country में destruction create होगा. Understanding? So firstly what you need to do is that you need to know what is deepfake. So a deepfake is something that a machine has produced using deep learning and which contains false information. It pays to keep the definition of deepfakes vague in form because of the way deepfake distorts reality. That means deepfake is doing what? It is distorting reality. Now, despite its potential to rupture the social fabric, deepfake is entirely redeemable. Why? Just like the kitchen knife or the nuclear reactor, the problem is how we wield it. So they are saying that this technology is having what? The potential to destroy the social fabric of the country. This is what I'm saying. Politically तो कर ही देगा, economically भी कर देगा पूरा destroy social fabric of country. Any technology that is coming in the market, government should be ready with the laws and legislation to protect the country, or if the person is using such technology. India is having any such laws and legislations? इतनी सारे laws हैं, एकदम मतलब see there are multiple laws, but I'm asking you, is India having any such law specially confined to this deepfake technology? Because in the future times when artificial intelligence is going to cover the market entirely, We need to have laws regarding that. कास्टिज्म जब था तो फिर हमने क्या कौन कौन से लॉज लाए, हमने वो लाया शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट एंड शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अट्रॉसिटीज एक्ट, so that people could be punished if they are exploiting the fabric of the country. So what about the deepfake technology? What about the misinformation that is being spread? क्योंकि इस misinformation से you are going to witness a lot of lynching, then lot of political disturbance. In some cases, data could also be lost. And as I have told you in many classes earlier, also that data is acting as the new oil in the present time. So data is very important. So that could also be lost because of these deepfake technologies. Other than that, if these doctored images are circulated in the society, don't you think that the personal image of the person is also getting hampered? लोगों को तो मजा करने के लिए बस थोड़ा सा ट्रिगर चाहिए होता है. That is also going to be unhealthy to the image of the person, especially in the Indian society. तो भाई बहुत ही dangerous है. So do you think we are having any legislation to protect or to act against this? Are we having any legislation? And see, section 500 of IPC, we are having legislation and laws, but they are not confined especially to this section. Now, section 500 of IPC talks about that the person will be convicted in case if there is any kind of destruction to the image of the person. That means if I am trying to convey or if I am trying to portray the other person as somebody, somebody is something which I want to, kind of revenge. If I want to take the revenge from that person and I'm going to circulate an image of that person, doctored images, then I will be convicted under the section 500 of IPC. Now, if you see, I am being convicted for what? If I am trying to portray the image of the person or if I am trying to degrade that person. But what about the technology that is being used? So if the person is using this deep fake technology trying to exploit anyone, so what are the laws and legislation that government is going to come with? This need to be worked on. अभी इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है. They have not brought so much like उनको अभी इतना ज़्यादा इस पे working हुआ नहीं. There are bills, but right now we are not having such catering laws which could actually check these technologies. ठीक है, तो सेक्शन 500 ऑफ आईपीसी और एक हमारे पास है इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी एक्ट. तो अंडर दिस एक्ट what is happening is under this Information Technology Act, the person will be convicted, but we are not having right now any such act which is dealing specially with deepfake technologies. We are working on it, but not having it. उसके बाद यहाँ तक समझ आया? See, if you people are going through the compilations or if you are doing the current affairs from here also, you will get the minute details. If you want, then I can have the minute details also here. But since I am taking, I'm just getting 1 hour 40 minutes of time. I guess 140, 130, 1 hour 30 minutes time. So it is difficult for me to cover the entire week's current affair with the detailing portion. So I'm going with the news which are important, so that you could understand the issues and what the government is doing regarding it. ठीक है? If you want the detailing section तो बता देना, तो अगली बार से उस तरह बनाना पड़ेगा. India-US finalized roadmap for defense industrial cooperation. Defense industrial cooperation. How is the defense sector of India? How is the defense sector of India? Acha, which industry, defense industry in India are having private players? Defense sector in India is having private players, or why do we need this defense industrial cooperation? Any news is coming, you have to question yourself, why do we require this? What is the issue behind? What could be done? And why are we working towards it? That means India and US has finalized roadmap for defense industrial cooperation. What is the need? See, firstly, the point is that defense sector need to be taken seriously. Why? Because it is acting as an important part of what national security of the country. Now, since it is acting as the national security of the country, we have to take this defense sector very seriously. And what are the issues that Indian defense sector is facing? Do you think we are facing any issues? Do you think we are facing any issues in the defense sector? या तो ऐसे होगा या तो ऐसे होगा. Are we or are we not? कुछ तो इशू रहा होगा. That is why we are shaking hands with US to finalize defense industrial cooperation. अगर इतने सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो गए होते, so what was the need? And if there are issues, then could you highlight the issues? What does your understanding says about the defense sector of India? See, it is said that though we are having good military strength, but there is lack of specialization in our military segment. So the issue that India is facing, specialization, issue of or lack of specialization in our military segment. Specialization का issue है. That means what kind of things we are having in defense sector. That means the people that are अच्छा हमारा जो examination system है, even for that purpose, you people know about CDS? कैसा examination perspective है उसका? For example, if people are going to this medical sector, so they are confined to this stream कि उन्हें यही वाले subjects पढ़ने हैं. When it comes to military segment or your defense sector, what is the syllabus? ज्यादातर में सिलेबस आपका क्या चल रहा है? मैथ्स, इंग्लिश, जीएस, राइट? एंड once you pass on the examination, you are dealing with different things. चाहे वो बैंकिंग सेक्टर हो, चाहे वो एसएससी वाला सेक्टर हो, चाहे वो डिफेंस सेक्टर हो, राइट? एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी से कि वहां पे क्या चल रहा होता है? ट्रेनिंग पीरियड, इंक्यूबेशन पीरियड, राइट? क्यों? क्योंकि उसमें दे टीच यू, right? So they are saying, or Indian military segment is having people who are generalists. That means they are having a general view but not having specialization in the respective field. A person who is a specialist can teach you or can know about the segments better, or a person who is a generalist by nature. Okay, so this is one of the issues that our defense sector is facing. Other than that, we are having ये reason समझ आ गया ना, specialization और generalize. अच्छा एक बात बताओ, civil servant में they are asking for a specialization or for a generalist? सिलेबस पढ़ा है तुमने? साफ साफ लिखा है, we need the person who is having the general knowledge of everything. We don't need people who are specialized. ये नहीं लिखा हुआ है, पहले वाला लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है. सो दिस इज वन थिंग. अदर देन दैट, हमारा जो डिफेंस सेक्टर है, डू यू थिंक ब्रिंगिंग प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स वुड बी अ गुड स्टेप? एक कह रहा है नहीं. यू? अच्छा, अच्छा होगा. यू? हम दोनों बोल तो दिया है, अब मेरा क्या होगा? Why do you think it is not good? Morbi bridge collapse हुआ, right, in Gujarat. Now if you are handing over the private players any project or anything, ये वाला issue आ सकता है. What kind of things they are being using? Who will be responsible for that? तो एक तो country की security is on stake. This is the negative part, but and why did you say yes? हाँ, अगर if they are working diligently towards the project, so efficiency and also good research is possible into the equipment. This is what you are saying. So it is going to act both way, लेकिन यहाँ पे ना थोड़ा भरोसा कम है. Why? Your this आपका Google, Facebook और क्या क्या है, Twitter और all these big things are coming from the people abroad. Why? Because they are taking their work seriously. यहाँ पे तो थोड़ा सा 10-20 करोड़ इकट्ठा हो गया है, बस अब चलो. So the point here is that if the private sector is going to work diligently, then तो things are good, no doubt. But अगर नहीं कर रहे हैं, then दिक्कत हो जाएगी. So there is this lack of commitment and dedication also that is coming. That is also one of the issues, and more than that, involving private players requires a lot of trust factor also, isn't it? क्योंकि नॉर्मल बिजनेस तो है नहीं, पूरी कंट्री की सिक्योरिटी हाथ पे दे रहे हो. So there this issue comes, and that is why we are designing the roadmap for defense industrial cooperation, so that we could get private players also, and as he said that efficiency, and what did you say? Okay, so he says that research and efficiency could be improved, bringing private players in the domain. अभी हमारे पास इतना स्कोप नहीं है, so that's the reason why we are going for this. Now this defense industrial cooperation should be viewed as the robust and the multifaceted bilateral defense cooperation, and these activities are to maintain the momentum of engagement and not having issues pertaining to your or keeping issues pertaining to the security of the country at stake. And why are we thinking about the private players? Because now artificial intelligence is sooner or later going to capture the market. ठीक है, ये न्यूज सुनी हुई है आईआईटी मद्रास तो पिछले काफी टाइम से गुड रैंक पे जा रहा है. आई थिंक काफी टाइम हो गया यार. आईआईटी मद्रास हैज रिटेन द नंबर 1 स्पॉट. हैप्पी. What is NIRF? NIRF is the National Institutional Ranking Framework under the Union Education Ministry. That is, NIRF is coming under Ministry of HRD. ये क्वेश्चन प्रीलिम्स का हो सकता है. वैसे तो हम नहीं पूछेंगे because now they are not going for this easy, but they can ask you. So this is going under Ministry of HRD. Announced the Indian rankings 2023 of higher education institution here. So what did they say? That IIT Madras has retained its position as the best education institution in overall ranking for the 5th consecutive year. 5 साल से हो रहा है भाई. Now, while Indian Institute of Science, are you people knowing IISc? So Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore has retained the best university in the country for 8 years in a row. So ऐसा क्या पढ़ते हो यार तुम लोग उधर साउथ में? हमारे नॉर्थ का है वैसे एक है ये मिरांडा हाउस आ रहा है. But then Indian Institute of Science Bangalore was the best university in the country for 8 years in the row. Miranda House, Delhi was ranked the best college, and IIM Ahmedabad the top management institute. So now here what you need to do is that on what sectors have this excelled. That means IIT मद्रास या नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशनल रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क जो है वो किस बेसिस पे है. सो द थिंग्स डू यू नो ऑन व्हाट बेसिस दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग यू दिस रैंक. फर्स्टली जो इनकी रैंक आ रही है दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन हाउ इज द टीचिंग पैटर्न देयर, व्हाट इज द लर्निंग पैटर्न देयर. सो टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग perspective ko they are giving 30% of weightage. Next is your research and the professional practice. That means what kind of research activities that are taking place there. So research practices. Now research practices is given again 30% weightage. That means 30% of weightage is coming from the teaching and learning section. 30% of the weightage is coming from the research practices. Then is the graduation outcome. That means what is the result that college is providing. This is giving you 20% of weightage. And fourth is your outreach and inclusivity. What do you mean by outreach and inclusivity? The outreach and inclusivity of the college. This is 10% of your weightage. And fifth is your perceptions. That is also 10%. Teaching or learning to समझ आ गया. How is the staff over there? Now research practices also समझ आ गया कि what is the research going on there. Graduation outcome, what is the result that is there, placement and all. Outreach and inclusivity का मतलब क्या हुआ? Outreach and inclusivity. क्या students? हाँ depends ki how many people want to get admitted there and how many people are actually studying here over there. For example, if IIT Madras is retaining the number one spot, that means IIT Madras में पढ़ने के लिए जम्मू कश्मीर का बच्चा भी आने को तैयार है. So the one coming from JNK, one coming from Northeast section, one coming from Haryana, Punjab. That means the outreach and the inclusivity of this college is very high, and that is giving 10% of the weightage. Why are you so happy? So 10% weightage is coming from outreach and inclusivity. Now remaining 10% is coming from the perception. That means what are people perceiving about that college or university. Okay, so do you think these rankings are going to work out in future, or what is the purpose? Have you heard about Institute of Eminence? ये मत बोलना नहीं सुना है, इसका तो क्वेश्चन भी आ चुका है. Institute of Eminence. Okay, this is going to work out in future, or how? What will be the benefit of bringing these rankings? How will this help? What is the need to go for this? पहला तो देखो एवरी बाकी सारे कॉलेज में दे विल इम्प्रूव व्हाट इनटेक आल्सो दे विल आल्सो वर्क अपॉन द टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजीज रिसर्च प्रैक्टिसेस ग्रेजुएशन आउटकम्स क्योंकि प्लेसमेंट एंड ऑल इज कमिंग फ्रॉम हियर योर आउटकम कितना आ रहा है दे आर गिविंग 20% ऑफ वेटेज आउटरीच और इंक्लूसिविटी तो अच्छी हो जाती है इफ द कॉलेज इज गुड बट यू नीड टू वर्क अपॉन स्पेशली द रिसर्च प्रैक्टिसेस सो आईआईटी मद्रास हैज बीन वर्किंग गुड ओवर देयर ठीक है सो एनआईआरएफ ने रैंकिंग में ये दिया हुआ है दिस वाज इंपॉर्टेंट 508 districts in the country are free of manual scavenging. Heard about manual scavenging? यही खींच के मारती अगर बोलते कि नहीं सुना है आई हैव डन दिस मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग सेक्शन इन इंडियन सोसाइटी ऑल्सो सो 508 districts in country are free of manual scavenging. Now despite stating that past few years manual scavenging had been eliminated in the country and the only remaining threat was hazardous cleaning of sewers and septic tanks, the Union Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry has now said that only 508 of the 766 districts in the country have been declared free of manual scavenging. So that means the practice of manual scavenging is still existing and the data were revealed in the booklet of the ministry that has prepared to outline its achievement in the 9 years. So they have said that the practice of manual scavenging is still existing and the ministry report has said that 508 districts of the countries are free out of the 766. Now the practice of manual scavenging is existing. How are you going to keep a check on this practice, or how would you, or what is government doing in order to check manual scavenging? पहले बताओ manual scavenging होती क्या है? How would you define manual scavenging? This section is acting as a part of your GS paper 1 main section Indian society and also social justice GS paper 2 and also ethics paper. That manual scavenging act is very humiliating. So what do you or what are the legal safeguards of India? So one such legal safeguard of India for the manual scavengers is protection of civil rights. So under protection of civil right, they are protecting the rights of the manual scavengers. Then you have the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, Prevention of Atrocities Act. They also talk about punishment that need to be given to the person who is, forced onto this practice of manual scavenging or is humiliated by the act. Then there is Employment of Manual Scavengers Prohibition Act also. Other than that, we have politically चल रही है. You're done ना? Any commission for this? नहीं है या मालूम नहीं है? National Commission of Safai Karmchari. National Commission for Safai Karmchari. Now these are certain work that have been done by Government of India. So as to safeguard the people that are under these manual scavenging and all these septic tank cleaners etc. ठीक है, इसमें आपको ये पता होना चाहिए मैनुअल स्कैवेंजिंग है क्या. उसके बाद आपको ये पता होना चाहिए व्हाट आर द एक्ट्स और व्हाट आर द लीगल फ्रेमवर्क दैट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट. एंड इसमें आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि व्हाट एल्स कैन बी डन. ठीक. Doctors must strictly comply with law on reporting POXO offences. What is POXO? पेपर ऐसे ही पढ़ा जाता है. आपको कीवर्ड पता होना चाहिए, आपको ये पता चल जाए why is news important. What is POXO? Can you read it? थोड़ा सा. So POXO is basically protection of children from sexual offences. So in this, what you need to study or what you need to focus on that this news. One second. Now this news says that doctors need to be very particular regarding what? You need to be particular regarding the strict compliance that is failing which the offender committing the offense arising out of consensual sexual activity or rape or sexual abuse on a child will get away from the clutches of law. So they are saying that under POXO Act, doctors need to be very particular about the sexual offenses that have occurred on the child. So you need to know about the features of the act. Who shall be considered child? It is being also, this is there in the law that if there, in some cases there are girls who have been getting married below 18. So in that case, will that be considered as rape? It is said that if the girl is like below 18 years but above 15 years, तो उसको मतलब married, then that won't be considered as rape. ऐसा इसमें है. Don't get offensive about me. ठीक है. And all those children who are below 18 years of age, आपको any sexual offense that is being taken place, तो वो आपका किस में आ जाएगा? POXO में. क्योंकि कई जगह this has came into into light that what about those girls who have been married below the age of 14? क्योंकि बहुत जगह है इंडिया में, if you go by will the WHO's pandemic treaty leave out antimicrobial resistance? That is your AMR. Pandemic treaty. पॉक्सो का सुन के तुम लोग इतना क्यों खुश हो रहे हो? Pandemic treaty. What is pandemic treaty? अच्छा, एंटी माइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस का मतलब क्या होता है? पढ़ी है, किसे पढ़ाई है? एंटी माइक्रोबियल रेजिस्टेंस मेरे साथ एक बार आ चुका है. वॉज वेरी 2 to 3 years because of tuberculosis. टीबी की वजह से बहुत ज्यादा न्यूज में था. AMR, antimicrobial resistance. Now AMR is microbes becoming resistant to medicines. Have you ever heard about this? Have you ever heard about this? This happens when you people, if you ever So why is AMR so much into news? Because now this AMR leads to what? Drug resistance. Now this becomes dangerous. Why? Because after some point of time, human body gets resistant to the drugs whatever you are taking. That means if you ever go to any doctor, he will prescribe you with the medicines for certain period of time. Well, does that happen? Now you have to, finish that time. You have to take that medicine for that time or for that duration, because if you miss out or if you stop those medicines within, after 2 to 3 days or depending upon your wish, what is going to happen? Your body will become drug resistant. So एक बार में नहीं होता है. It is on the regular practice, and after some point of time, the drugs will stop acting or stop reacting on your body. So this is what they are saying, that will WHO's pandemic treaty will leave out the antimicrobial resistance, that means AMR, that is microbes that are resistant to medicines. That means, or what are microbes? Name some microbes. Bacteria, fungi, virus, सारे microbes हैं. ठीक है? So this becomes important now. Why they are becoming resistant, उसका बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब, the reason is that is you are using medicines or drugs very frequently, etc. So all this becomes the cause of what? The cause of the body becoming drug resistant or microbes becoming resistant to medicines. ठीक है? Do PLI for manufacturing work? You must have done this in economy. Production linked incentives. Do PLI for manufacturing works? What do you mean by PLI? What do you mean by PLI? What do you mean by PLI? Now, in recent move, former RBI governor has questioned the success of PLI scheme in boosting India's domestic manufacturing export. So PLI scheme was introduced by Center in 2020. Lakhs of crores of rupees have been allocated towards subsidizing companies in the manufacture in India. Now, the center believes that the PLI scheme has boosted the domestic manufacturing sector, but but critics have questioned this success. So, what is PLI, and why are critics questioning PLI? Why are critics questioning PLI? Now, what is PLI? Production linked incentives. What is PLI? Now, globally, nations are buying for what markets by expecting more than what they import. So, definitely, यही होता है what exports need to be higher compared to imports if you want boost to economy. So for that reason, this production linked incentives were brought. So when you must have done this in economy. Only the static part. What do you understand by production linked incentives? Tax free for manufacturing industries and subsidies, yes. And why are they doing so? So that the market of manufacturing gets a boost and there is imports, there would be more exports that would be happening eventually from the country when there will be more production happening here. For example, हमें अगर कुछ चाहिए so we import it, right? But if production is happening in our own company, in our own country, then what is going to happen? Our needs will be satisfied. At the same time, we'll have a good market that will be the good market for exports, and that is what is being targeted from this PLI, that is production linked incentives, so that more and more people get what into the market of production and eventually the exports of the countries could increase, right? And that is the reason there is incentives and subsidies that are being provided for production purpose. ठीक है, अभी जो हमने डिफेंस वाला किया था ना अभी आर्टिकल, दैट डिफेंस वाला, so what was there, we were having this defense industrial corridor because we are targeting that more and more production is happening in our own country, so we don't need to we don't need to import or we don't need to go or look onto the other countries. तो उसमें हम लोग बात कर रहे थे we can have the private players here. There now here we are targeting, क्योंकि अब देखो the picture also is showing the electric vehicles in Hyderabad area. The time that is going to come, that time is of electric vehicle, hydrogen CNG, CNGs, etc. So what is this going to, or how are they going to be helpful? Because India will eventually have a market, and that market will be for what? For production of more and more vehicles in EV sector. This is just an example. It can be related to, for example, pharmaceutical sectors. There are also production linked incentives. Why? Because COVID जब आया, so if we have that much of capacity कि हम इतना सारा drugs खुद produce कर पाए, and there will be, there will be high chance कि हम what we are doing, we are going to export it in the market, international market. तो उससे क्या होगा? हमारी growth होगी. Ultimately, we are going to be what? Self-sufficient. So that is the reason why production linked incentives are being used. And the article says that India's domestic manufacturing market will get a boost when PLI was introduced back in 2020 with the purpose that we will have good amount of exports. ठीक है? Cyclone effect. Global warming's effect on cyclogenesis over the Pacific and North Indian Oceans, the warming over the North Indian Oceans and the late pre-monsoon cyclones and typhoons are another wrench in the monsoon dynamics and in the prediction of monsoon's onset and its evolution through the season. Now the impact of global warming on the monsoon are manifest. ऐसा है? ग्लोबल वार्मिंग इम्पैक्ट द साइक्लोन्स कैसे? ज्योग्राफी किया है? नहीं, इसने तो कर लिया है, यू पीपल। हाँ, तो चलो बताओ। Monsoon section. How is global warming going to affect the monsoon and the cyclone formation? सबसे ज्यादा साइक्लोन फॉर्मेशन किधर हो रहा है? आर यू डूइंग ज्योग्राफी? क्या कर रहे हो अभी? हाँ, प्रेशर बेल्ट। अच्छा अच्छा, साइक्लोन्स क्या है? मेजॉरिटी साइक्लोन्स कहाँ फॉर्म होते हैं? यू मैं बे ऑफ बंगाल। सो आई एम शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम, सो थोड़ा सा बता दे रही हूँ that majority cyclones, as he said, are formed in Bay of Bengal region. So now, since this is in news, so global warming, cyclones, and monsoon. These three topics become extremely important for you people to have a read on. Okay, and how global warming is leading to cyclone formation. Now they are basically targeting the cyclone formation in the area of North Indian Oceans. ठीक है, तो you have to study this cyclone वाला portion. Other than that, US UK forged Atlantic Declaration to boost ties. Now, do you recognize the people in the picture? Must be feeling proud? No? Why? So the United States and Britain on Thursday announced a new strategic pact as their leaders rededicated the special relationship to counter Russia, China, and economic instability. So for that purpose, they are going for this Atlantic Declaration. And this declaration is talking about your free trade agreements. Now, this is between US and UK. Why this becomes important? Because now you have to gain the perspective that how will India be benefited. That means what will India have in its kit. ठीक है, इस वजह से ये टॉपिक आपका इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है। अदरवाइज डील तो यूएस एंड यूके की हुई थी। हाउ इज इंडिया गोइंग टू बी हैविंग द बेनिफिट्स आउट ऑफ इट? फिर DRDO successfully tests ballistic missiles of Agni Prime. Now this becomes important. What your Agni Prime and what are your ballistic missiles? What is the work of DRDO? ठीक है. What was the requirement for the limits on UPI transactions? Now UPI is what? The UPI is your unified payment interface. Now this topic becomes important from your economy perspective, and since they are talking about UPI transactions, so prelims they can ask you about UPI, and mains the question could be regarding all those frauds that are happening out of UPI. What was the financial year's outcome from the payments that were happening beyond UPIs? Okay, anything? Okay, thank you so much.